So I was listening to that song a couple of days ago and it got me to start thinking about jobs, which then made me think about resumes. If you don't have a good resume, you can't get a job. So today I want to go over how to build a complete and effective resume, show you the different steps to take, give you some key terminology to write down and use when you are building your resume, or maybe reformatting or adding new details to your resume. And then we'll also look at an example of a resume and a website that helps you create and build a resume. All very helpful tools and skills. Okay, so let's get started. The first and of course one of the most important things to do is put your name in big bold print at the top of your resume. This we oftentimes call a header. Okay, so the header should have a larger font than the other text in your resume. It should include your name. That should be the very top. And then underneath the header, which you'll see in the example, you should have details on how to contact you. So this should be your contact information section. So include your phone number, your email address, your address, and any other way that you feel the potential future employer should be able to contact you. Okay, so that is step one. It's a pretty basic step, but it is important to make sure that you get it correct. The next section is the job objective section. In the job objective section, you should be very, very clear on what it is you are applying for. Some companies have many different jobs available at one time, so it needs to be clear which job you are applying to. So, if it is a part-time sales associate or sales employee, you should indicate that. If it is a full-time management position that you are applying for, you should say that. If it is an executive position that you are applying for, you should say that. Be very clear on what position you are applying for, and then if you have experience in that position, which we'll get to later. So job objective, be very clear, be very concise. Concise means to the point. Use active language rather than passive language. Okay? The next section in your resume should be your education. Here you should say where you were educated, when you graduated, and also any honors you received at your education institution. You should also include your GPA, or your grade point average, how well you performed. If you feel you have a weak or maybe a lower GPA than what you'd like to admit, which I understand, then you should focus on maybe your strengths outside of the GPA. If you were involved in clubs or organizations, if you were a leader in the classroom, if you did different volunteer work. Include all of those bits of information to let your future employer know that you were educated at a high level, that you can perform at a high level, and that you are very skilled in the field that you are applying for. So even if you didn't have a great grade point average, or that if you didn't score well on your tests, you can always focus on other things to let the employer know that, hey, this person is very skilled, I need this person in my company or for my business. Alright, so again, dates of your graduation, where you graduated, and then the skills that you received at your institution. The next section is the employment history. Again, this is a very important part of the resume, and it depends what type of position you are applying for to know what to include. If this is your 6th or 7th job, and you probably then don't want to add your very first job when you were 17 or 18 years old, right? You want more relevant, or you want more recent work history to be in your resume. Resumes are only 1 to 2 pages at most. 1 page is ideal. So you really don't have the space to put in every job that you've ever had, and every job that you've ever had isn't relevant. it's not important. Your employer, your future employer doesn't need to know that you worked at a fast food restaurant when you were 18 years old. That doesn't matter. It's important to focus on the most relevant jobs that you've had and the most recent jobs that you've had. Your employer will see this and they will understand what skills and what experience you bring to the table. When I say bring to the table, I mean bring to their company. So what experience you offer. Experience is really, really important to express and to display within your resume. If you have worked a job for 15 years and then all of the sudden your company is being sold and you no longer have a job, you want to say, I have 15 years of experience in this particular field, I know what I'm doing, and I can be a great help to your company. Okay, so again, relevancy. Include what is relevant to the employer. I can't stress that enough. Alright, limited space, relevance is very important. The next section is the skills and abilities section. In this section you should include anything that you feel you are an expert at or that you are very, very skilled with. Okay, this could include a computer program that you work with very well. This could include another language that you know. Companies and businesses love if you are bilingual, if you know more than one language. But anything that is, again, relevant to the job that you are hoping to get. Alright, so if you work in manual labor, okay, so maybe you fix cars, you should input, or you should put in what type of cars you fixed, what type of work you did with the cars. If you are an executive, you should say that you are very skilled with team building or with efficiency. Okay, those are skills that will be important to put into your resume and let your future employer know that I'm great at this, you need this for your company, I have it. The next section is activities and honors. Maybe if you, again, have been at a company for 15 years, it's being sold, you're losing your job, but you were the best employee at that company for the past 15 years, and you were the employee of the month or the year, you should say something like that. If you're just getting your first or second job, and you were the president of your class at your university, or you were involved in other groups or organizations at your university, you should say this. Pick what sounds the best to you and maybe the higher positions that you've held, and put those in your achievements and your honors and your activities. The last section is references. References are people that you've worked with or that you know that can tell your future employer about you. So if you put down someone that you knew in the past, maybe it's a professor, you should have a good relationship with this professor. You should know that if or when your future employer calls this professor, that the professor will say nice and positive things about you. You don't want to put down a person who doesn't like you or who thinks you're a bad worker or not very smart, right? It's common sense, right? Don't do those types of things. Always put people who are going to display you in a positive way. You should always have very supportive people in your references. Usually 3 to 4 references is a good number to go with. You can, put 5. Sometimes the employer will ask for 1, 2, or 3. They will give you exactly how many they want. Okay, so pick good references. Pick people that are respectable. Your mom as a reference probably isn't a good idea, right? Somebody in a higher position, if you have references in very high positions, that is great. If you have references that are business owners or that are professors or that are very well known, that is great. Alright, so those are the main sections of a resume, and now I want to go through and show you exactly what this looks like and how to build your own resume. Thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions on building a resume, contact me on WeChat and I will be happy to help with your confusion. I will see you soon, and good luck with your resume.